Welcome back, folks. I'm Dr. Bruce Crawford. I'm a board-certified urogynecologist bringing you content about pelvic floor disorders. And lately, you may be aware, we've been talking about urinary incontinence, overactive bladder, and stress urinary incontinence. And today's topic is bladder retraining. This is a conservative home solution for people with overactive bladder. And just to remind you, overactive bladder is characterized by something called urgency, the fearful experience that you won't make it to the bathroom in time. Now, urgency is usually associated with urinary frequency and having to get up too much at night to void, and it is a real detriment to quality of life. It's extremely common. It gets more common as we get older. It affects just as many women as men. And so what we're going to talk about today, bladder retraining, can be a strategy to help you not need to take a medication for this particular problem. When bladder retraining is used in conjunction with lifestyle modifications, specifically eliminating some of the things that make overactive bladder worse, like coffee, tea, alcohol, and soda, when bladder retraining is combined with a regular, consistent program of pelvic floor exercise like Pilates, just a few minutes a day, you can make tremendous progress, even resolve the problem completely. So this can be fun, meaningful, satisfying, and today we're going to show you exactly how that works. So why is it that 75% of people with overactive bladder aren't currently being treated? Well, the majority of them haven't even addressed the issue with a physician out of embarrassment, or maybe they're just reluctant because they don't think there's anything they can do about it, or maybe they believe the hype that it's just a normal part of getting older, or maybe they believe it's just a normal part of childbirth and aging, and it's just not the case. The fact is, there's a lot you can do about it, and a lot of the things you can do about it, you can do from home. And this is the critical point. You must believe that you can make progress and make a decision, make it today, that you're not going to give up until you achieve satisfaction, because being able to control your bladder amounts to nothing less than your dignity and independence. So don't sacrifice that. There's a lot you can do, and today's topic is going to talk about one of the simplest things you can do, although it does take a bit of a time commitment, and it's not going to make your OAB better overnight. It will make a difference if you apply these strategies consistently. So let me give you a quick rundown of what bladder retraining is. There are 5 parts to it. One of these parts is more important than the others. Maybe while I'm going through these, you can guess which one it is. So the first thing is called timed voiding. Now, ideally, you will have completed a bladder diary to figure out the time interval you can generally go without having to run to the bathroom or have an accident while running to the bathroom. Some people just have a sense of it. This happens every 30, 40 minutes. Okay, then maybe 25 minutes or 30 minutes is the interval you want to start with, the interval where you can generally go without an experience of urgency. That's your starting voiding interval. Define it. And then maybe just use the timer on your phone, or get a kitchen timer. They're cheap. You can buy them at Amazon or Walmart or just about anywhere. They don't cost much money. And set it to the initial timing interval. That's the first step. Now, every time that timer goes off, whether you need to or not, you're going to go ahead and empty your bladder and start over again. You don't need to do this at night, just during the day. Step number 2, no more running to the bathroom. Make a conscious decision that you will no longer let your bladder direct you. Instead, you're going to regain the ability to direct your bladder. So if that experience of urgency, oh my gosh, I may not make it in time, if that occurs, you don't run to the bathroom, but rather you sit down and give yourself a message of reassurance. That's the third step. I know this is only going to last 60 to 90 seconds. That's how long an unwanted bladder contraction lasts. You sit and you wait for it to pass. It will pass. At first, you may get wet, but that's the price you're going to pay to get better, to take back control. Now, while you're sitting there giving yourself a message of reassurance, you're going to perform a series of really forceful pelvic floor contractions. Now, you can do this Pilates style, like modification of the butterfly movement that you can do in a chair. You can learn all about that at Pilates.com in our P49 webinar. It's only $49. You can take it online anytime. It's self-paced, and it'll teach you all 10 movements and then help you pick 2. But while you're seated in a chair, during the course of bladder retraining, doing a series of strong pelvic floor contractions is helpful. And then when you go a week or 10 days without having an incontinence episode, without having an accident, you extend that voiding interval 15 minutes at a time. So if you started at 30 minutes, you stay dry for a week, now you change your timer, you change your voiding interval to 45 minutes and keep going. No more running to the bathroom. When it happens, if urgency happens, sit down, message of reassurance, strong pelvic floor contractions. When you stay dry for a week, extend the interval until you're voiding every 2 to 3 hours. And then that's pretty much normal. Now, in my experience, patients that come to see us, maybe they're voiding 14 times a day. 7 is a somewhat arbitrarily assigned number of how many times it's normal to void during the day. Maybe they're voiding 14 times a day, and after 4, 6, 8 weeks, they're only voiding 7 times a day, normal, but they never want to pee again. They want to void 0 times a day. That's not realistic. We're not going to make you better than normal, right? You still have to produce urine. You still have to empty your bladder. But the idea is that you do it without fear of leaking. And it'll take time to trust the bladder control that you're able to reestablish. Be patient with yourself. This didn't evolve overnight, and it's not going to go away overnight. All right, time for a quiz. Which of those 5 steps do you think is the most helpful, the most critical in the process of bladder retraining? Well, if you guess step number 2, no more running to the bathroom, making that conscious decision that you're not going to do it even if you get wet at first, you will find if you do nothing else, that alone can be very helpful. So make that decision today. You're taking back control. Even the fact that you're watching this video is a really encouraging thing. It means you're dedicated to getting informed. You want to know the science behind what's going on. Overactive bladder is not normal. It's just that your bladder isn't regulated the way it used to be. Now, it's not 100% clear why this happens, but the nerves that keep the bladder quiet while it's filling sometimes misbehave, and they allow the bladder to empty on its own when you don't want it to. When that starts to happen, it gives you a very strong sensation of needing to urinate, and that's what we call urgency. The fact is, you have to study if you want to get better. You need to understand the problem. You need to understand the solutions. You see, this is everyone as they're getting started addressing their overactive bladder. Grumpy cat. They're not happy with the situation. It took a lot of suffering for them to even go and see their doctor. And I'll only repeat here, because I always do in every video, this isn't a substitute for healthcare. You still have to work with your physician. This is education that's going to help that experience of working with your physician be more effective, right? But everybody's feeling bad about it when they start. But remember, nobody gets better on a good day. This is what led you to a point where you've made a commitment to say, I'm going to do something and I'm not going to give up until I get satisfaction. So you may start out as grumpy cat, but what you need to do is become Zen cat. This is the tool you're going to apply when you make the decision. You're going to sit down, not run to the bathroom anymore. Give yourself that message of reassurance. Slow, deep breath. It's going to be okay. This will pass in 60 to 90 seconds. And when it does, you're going to get up and walk calmly to the bathroom. Right? But you're not just sitting there giving yourself a message of reassurance. You're also doing a series of strong pelvic floor contractions. Now, you can really become an expert at this using the Pilates technique. Here we see our intrepid cat learning how to do cat into cow, the 10th Pilates movement. For some people, this is their best movement. And I'm not suggesting you get down on the floor and do this particular movement during bladder retraining, but rather something that you can do while seated in a chair, taking those slow, deep breaths, giving yourself a message of reassurance. Maybe have a ball handy. Often a hand towel will do, just placed between your knees to give a little bit more force to the pelvic floor as you do those Kegel exercises. This is critical. This is going to help that bladder contraction that's distressing you so much go away more quickly. And if you do this consistently for several weeks, you'll find that your voiding interval has extended. The episodes of distressing urgency are getting less frequent or are gone altogether, and you can no longer have to worry about having an embarrassing accident when you're out and about. But you must keep up with the other things that help overactive bladder as well, right? Dietary factors, consistent pelvic floor exercise every day, and some people do need to take a medication. There's no shame in that. Most people can avoid it, but not everybody can avoid it. And so if you're one of those people that needs a maintenance medication, like one of the many overactive bladder drugs that are available, use it. Control this problem. You deserve it. And that's all there is to it. That's bladder retraining. You see, you've made a decision that you're going to take charge. You're going to work on this till you're better, and you're not going to be like these hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil monkeys. Instead, you are going to protect your dignity and independence by doing an array of things that are going to preserve your quality of life. Now, I hope that's been interesting. If it has, go ahead and click the like button, share this video, leave a comment, subscribe to our channel. We need your help so we can bring this message to as many people as possible. We load a video every 2 to 3 days, and you can look forward to more coming in the future. We look forward to seeing you back again, and I really appreciate your attention. Thanks a lot.